Hello, my friends. Today, I would like to talk to you about astrology of karma from the age perspective. We come to Earth because we have karma. In other words, we get born because we have karma. And in order to get released, we need to pay this karma back. In other words, we're coming to Earth in order to release the karma, not to live it through, but to release the karma. And the astrology helps to understand the karma and how to release the karma. And today I will talk to you about the houses of the horoscope and how each house represents the age of the person and what karma is related to that age. So we'll start with house number 1. House number 1 represents the age from 0 to 1 year old, and at that age the person needs to understand that I exist. I am here, and that's why house number 1 is about I am, is about the consciousness, is about being conscious about my life. If at that point this consciousness is damaged somehow, the rest of the life will be a big challenge for the person. So it's very important for the person from the 0 to 1 just to understand that this is me, this is I am, and the parents need to help the child to achieve that understanding. Now, the second house represents the age of 2 years old. So from 1 to 2, it's house number 2. And house number 2, it's the house that supports the house number 1. So basically, it's the food that we get. It's the support from the family that we get to grow up and to support the understanding that that's me. I exist, and that's why I'm important, because I am getting those resources as a support. And basically, house number 2 represents the family, right? And at that time, family support is vital, very, very important, so that the person understands the value of themselves. If that situation is somehow damaged, the value of themselves is damaged. In this case, the self-esteem will be suffering through the entire life. So at the age of from 1 to 2, we need to put that basis for self-esteem, for self-confidence. And then from there, we go to house number 3. House number 3 represents from 2 to 3 years old. And that's the age where the person, understanding their self-value, understanding that the person exists, start to standing up for their goals. So they are setting their goals, they are setting their kind of desires, and at that age the child starts saying, it's mine, it's give it to me. So and we need to support it. We shouldn't be taking anything from the child. We need to help the person, the child, to feel that yes, you have your own goals, yes, you have your own desires, and you have the right to have it. If that situation is incomplete and something happened at that point, and the person will give up easily. Basically, they won't be standing up for themselves, they won't be fighting for their goals, for their beliefs. And that house is represented by Mars, and Mars is, first of all, it's not to fight with others, but to fight for the ability to be yourself, and that's the house number 3. If something is spoiled within the area of the 3rd house, self-confidence might be gone, and it will be very, very hard to restore this confidence for the entire life. Now we're getting to house number 4. And house number 4, after the person reaches 4 years old, imagine that the person goes through all of this development, he reaches house number 4, and it's about self-realization. Oh, it's about I have those feelings. Oh, I have relationships, because house number 4 represents surrounding. Oh, my mother takes care of me, because house number 4 represents mother. And the person starts realizing their emotions, their feelings. So if the first 3 houses were developed properly, then the emotional part comes in place, and the person easily understands their emotions, feelings, and the emotional intelligence starts developing. If that doesn't happen, then there will be emotional issues, there will be blockages, there will be accumulation of toxic emotions, there will be lack of self-understanding, and there will be a lot of suffering through the entire life. And then we are coming to house number 5, and house number 5 represents intelligence. So intelligence meaning that intellectual development, we're not talking about school, because the child is too young for school at the age of 5 years old, but this is the time for house number 5 to develop develop the intelligence, meaning realization that there is something higher than there is more than just my family. There is more than just what I know. There is the whole world, and this world is governed by universal laws. And that house number 5, it represents the punya from Sanskrit, but it's the benefits that we bring from our past life. This is the spiritual intelligence that we bring from our past life. So in order to help the person to realize that there are higher forces that govern not only father, not only mother, not only teachers, but something else is out there, right? It's the time to help the child develop the boundaries, to help the child to introduce maybe a deeper knowledge of God, of the universal laws. House number 5 also represents a mantra meditation. So start introducing this to the child with an explanation. Actually, according to Vedic tradition, the mother is engaged in spiritual practices and mantra meditation a year before the childbirth, because that attracts the proper soul to the person. But now, speaking about the circle of development, at that age of age now, like 5 years old, when intelligence becomes developed, we need to support the child with the high intelligence, with the high knowledge. And then the person reaches house number 6, and house number 6 is the age from 5 to 6. This is when the person needs to be taught how to serve others, because house number 6 is a house of service. So after getting the knowledge of the higher sources of God, of higher intelligence that governs, it's going to be very easy to start serving others. Like, how can I help you? And the easiest way is to teach the child, ask your mom, how can I help you, and why is it important? It's a good time to explain to the child, why is it important to help others, why is it important to get assistance, and how it is about serving each other, how it is about the exchange, loving exchange between human beings. Not that you're getting paid for it, but you are exchanging love, and it's the exchange of service which actually supports spiritual consciousness. And at that age, if they don't learn how to do that, this house is also called house of enemies, sicknesses, diseases, different deaths. And the Bhagavad Gita and other scriptures, they explain that there are 4 gates to hell. This is anger, this is being evil, being mean to others, and being lusty, so it's lust, right? So if at that age the child doesn't get that perspective that service is important, that there are higher sources, those qualities start getting developed and they become rooted, and it's going to be a problem for the future. So it's very important to teach the child the service at the age of 6 years old. And then the child reaches the house number 7, which is 7 years old. And at the age of 7 years old, it is the time to understand it's not all about me. There are also others. There are also other people around me, and they look at me and they learn something from me. And basically, I'm doing it not only for myself, but by being in service, by being self-developed, by understanding how to stand up for myself, house number 3, right? By understanding how to support myself, house number 2, by understanding that I exist, I actually serve others, I can be in the relationships with other people. And 7 years, like that age, is the time to understand that by my own development, I am helping others. I am able to be in relationships with other people. And it's, again, if in that age that doesn't happen, this understanding doesn't come, all of the bad qualities developed within house number 6 take place, and the person becomes needy, and the child becomes very capricious. So it means that something was missed from the age from 1 to 6 years old. So it's very important to understand that. And then after that, after house number 7, we're going to house number 8. And house number 8 represents the age of 8 years old. Okay, so between 7 and 8, it is a transformation. And when we talk about the transformation, we're not talking about the changes from school or changes like in grade or changes of friends. No, this transformation is from material to spiritual. That's why it causes a lot of stress, because when we have this mentality, this is mine, that belongs to me, I don't have to serve anyone, I don't have to love anyone, I don't have to care about anyone, and then the time comes to show the results, it's a big struggle. That's why this house is called house of stress, house of depression, house of abrupt changes. Why? Because development requires, and if it's not in place, it causes huge stress. And how people run away from this stress? They get intoxicated, they take drugs, they engage in different activities which are not beneficial for their life. So in order to avoid this, it is very important to help at that age to transform from material to spiritual. Just it's a very good time to engage your child into the activities like maybe Bhagavad Gita classes, maybe like any other spiritual classes that explain that we are here not to just do something to earn for ourselves and enjoy it and then die with it without knowledge. No, actually, this is what we have, is to support our higher level of development, okay, and be ready for those changes. Basically, understand who it belongs to. Like, for example, very easy to explain to a child how to be thankful, right, for everything you have to God. You can say, when you take something from someone, what do you have to say? And the child say, oh, I don't know. And you teach them, you have to say thank you. And then, oh, okay. So, but I'm not taking anything from anyone at the moment. Yes, you are. Are you breathing? Yes. You take this air in and out. Yes. Who does it belong to? Oh, and that's a good question, right? And that causes the transformation in the mind. It doesn't belong to me. I'm using it. So I have to be thankful for this, right? And then it's a good time to explain that there are different personalities that serve the supreme personality. And these different personalities, they provide for us air, sunshine, this beautiful view. They give us health, wealth, and everything. And then we have to be thankful. And how can we be thankful? There are several ways, right? And then you can explain in your own tradition. Like in Vedic tradition, we're thankful for the yagyas, for the ceremonies, for donations to the spiritual teachers, through mantra meditation, reading the knowledge, working on our health, serving others, helping like to enlighten others, and etc. Right? So we are helping like that. So this is a good, and that understanding will help the person at the age of 8 years old to understand that it's not only about my consumption, it's also about what I do in return, how am I thankful, and who it belongs to. So when the losses come in the future, and they're definitely going to come, because we are here not to enjoy our karma, but to transform ourselves from material to spiritual. So there will be losses of things that are not needed for our spiritual happiness. So at that age, if the person understands, then they go for the losses with less, dissatisfaction, right? With less sorrow, because they understand that it doesn't belong to me. Basically, I was using it, I'm thankful for it, and now something else is coming my way, and I will continue being thankful. I will be continuing performing all of the required things to show my thanks to the owner of all those things. So this is house number 8. And if that age was developed properly, we go to house number 9. And house number 9 is also called karma house, right? Why? Because at that time, when the child reaches 9 years old, they become highly spiritual. On their level, of course, right? And they understand the value of teachers. They understand the value of knowledge. They understand the value of government, and they understand who it belongs to. So they have all of this knowledge, and at that age, they start deciding how to continue with their future. Because the 9th house and 9 years old is the time that opens the gate. It's called house of luck, right? It opens the gate for the bright future, like for the brightness of the future. Because with this knowledge, person becomes very lucky. It's natural, right? And that spiritual knowledge, they have high morale, they have high understanding, their intelligence is not contaminated with other problems related to adult life. So the intelligence is very pure, and it is very important to get the person to that point at the age of 9 years old. And then we are reaching the house number 10, and house number 10 represents 10 years old. Now with this baggage of knowledge, self-understanding, service, understanding that I'm not by myself, doesn't belong to me, and I'm thankful to others, we are going to the dharma. How with all of this I can serve others, how I can be like beneficial, how I can be useful, because I'm already useful for myself. So the development, right, of 8-10 years old is to ask the question, how I can be useful, what is my path, how I can serve the society, what kind of example I can show to others. And that's a good time to research, to do the research, to find the path of life for the person, and parents need to help to determine that. And it's a good time maybe to take the child. Actually, it's a good time to consult with an astrologer at the beginning, just to show what is the path of life for the person, etc. But then at that age, that knowledge should be given to the person so that they understand their path, how they can be at service, what is their highest potential, how can they be an example, and how they can perform their dharma, right, in order to be released. Because through each house we're paying our karmic debts, and I will explain this in my next video. And then once we get to the house number 11, it's 11 years old, and at that age, when we are 11 years old, it is the time to understand that not only the result that I'm getting, like material the results are important, but also the spiritual the results. These are the results from service. This is the results from being helpful, being useful, being in relationships with others. And this is the house at the age of 11 where the person realizes their highest self, actually, and that's 11 years old. Then when we go to house number 12, it's the 12 years old, and it ends the circle of development. The first circle of development is ended, right? And that's the house of, it's called house of moksha. Basically, it's a release, right? So at that time, with the proper development through all of the rest of the houses, the person understands that, oh, that's why I was doing that. And it gives a lot of peace, and it gives a lot of, realization, and at the same time, kind of renunciation from different maybe disturbances that they were going through, because here they reach the self-realization needed just to understand that all of that development that I was going through had a purpose to come to this house number 12 and to understand my highest potential. And at that time, the person feels release, and they feel kind of thankful. They feel thankful. So this is the karma, right, of the houses from the age perspective, and it ends at the age of the first circle ends at the age of 12 years old, and then the next circle starts at the age of 13, where there is a new realization of myself, right? And then it's going to continue until the end of our life. So we go through these circles again and again, and that represents the circulation of the sun, because sun goes through each sign every month, and there are 12 signs. Therefore, we get enlightened with each month, each year, and each time. It is the time of development for ourselves to release our karma and to get free, to be happy. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I will be giving more videos next time. I will talk to you about the karma of the houses from the perspective of paying your debts, karmic debts. So that will be also very interesting to understand. And the purpose of Vedic astrology is not to deepen the mind into the karma, but to give the understanding how to get out of the karma, how to give the remedies, right? Give the way out, so that we get free of the karma, so that we get closer to our, basically not even closer, but we understand our spiritual identity. This is the purpose of Vedic astrology. Okay, thank you very much for your attention, and see you in my next video. All the best.